episode of Retail Media Thursdays here in Cannes. I am about to meet Dan Shering, who you may remember as a former host on Retail Media Thursdays. Unfortunately, he left us a while ago and is now working at Decentriq and is going to chat to us about all things data clean rooms. I don't think you need an introduction. You've hosted one of these, Dan. You're the first person we've had doing the hosting and also being a guest, but welcome.
Thank you. It definitely feels stranger being on this side, I'll be honest, but yeah, delighted to be here.
And it's so good to see you again. We miss you.
Yeah, miss all my friends at Skai. It was a great 7 years, but good to be back in Cannes and good to be catching up with you and some of the rest of the gang.
Yeah, do you want to just introduce yourself for anyone that didn't watch your episode?
Yes. So my name's Dan Shering. I'm VP Global Sales at Decentriq. We are a data clean room and data collaboration provider, but I previously spent 7 years as our VP at EMEA at Skai. So yeah, good to be back.
Well, you just mentioned data clean room. I think it is the buzzword of Cannes. But for anybody who might not be familiar with what a clean room is, I know we've got a lot of people, I've been told today by somebody, there's a lot of people that watch this as kind of an educational when they start in this industry.
You're quite the celebrity around
apparently
Cannes.
I am. But what is a data clean room, Dan?
Yeah, so a data clean room is ultimately a specialised environment where you can securely manage and work with and collaborate on data in a very privacy-centric way. That's kind of the top line answer, but ultimately there's a range of different clean rooms, and that's where it gets kind of a little confusing for brands. You know, there's the walled garden clean rooms and AMC that we used to obviously talk about a lot at Skai, and you know that's kind of the leader in the walled garden side. And then there's independent clean room providers like Decentriq, and ultimately we're here to help brands work on first-party data to collaborate with publishers, so in the premium web space, and really drive their marketing efforts forward in this kind of privacy-centric era that we're embarking upon.
So what are some of those challenges that brands are facing right now that lead them to collaborate with retailers, either inside or outside of data clean rooms?
Yeah, I think, you know, and we heard it in some of the talks this morning, but, you know, brands are going to face the challenge of, you know, third-party cookie deprecation. You know, there was a panel earlier that talked about it being the present, not the future. And I think it's really important for brands to understand that, right? It's happening now. If you think about the changes that happened with Apple and Safari or Firefox, cookies have been depreciated on those platforms for a number of years now. Google will follow suit as well, but the removal of the cookie really places kind of three big challenges for brands. How can they look at their adjustability? How can they reach their customers, right? Because they don't have those same formats going. How can they measure the impact of their marketing? Because again, measurement was a really big part of cookie provision. And ultimately, how can they reach out to new clients and find new customers? You know, the whole nature of the market has changed, and it does present, you know, significant challenges for those brands. And ultimately, that's why clean rooms are here to really take that next step, leverage first-party data, collaborate with with retailers that have a wealth of data. If you think about an FMCG brand, for example, they don't have that first-party data, so they need to work with the likes of retailers to be able to provide that. And ultimately, you're then going to see retailers having to go beyond their current methods to really help brands into the future.
Yeah, for sure. So when you say beyond their current setups, beyond their current methods, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I think, you know, data monetization isn't something new, right? Being able to provide insights to customers and brands isn't something new. But really, we see a lot of retailers, you know, that's where it stops for them. They're able to provide insights, they're able to monetize data and activate across walled gardens, for example. But the next frontier is really how do they take that and go across the premium web? You know, that, and I really see that being the big next step that retailers have to take, because ultimately brands, you know, and the biggest brands want to be in that space. It's where a lot of their budget goes. So as we think about that evolution from on-site to off-site, from walled gardens to open web, I think, you know, the best retailers will be making that step and changing from static dashboards to more dynamic dashboards where brands can come in, query data, they're able to garner more insights. They take those insights and they drive that for smarter activation across the open web. I really see that being that kind of next step that the best retailers need to take, because ultimately the brands will demand that, and if you don't take that step, I think you're going to be left behind.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple of parts to what you said that I want to deconstruct. First of all, starting with premium web, we've heard the likes of Trade Desk coming out talking about it a lot recently, but what's your take on premium web? What is it?
Yeah, great question. And I think ultimately hearing the Trade Desk use sort of terminology that we use at Decentriq is actually great for the industry to get some standardization. But it's nothing complex, right? It's a publisher that stood the test of time, a publisher that prides itself in great journalism, in engaging content, and has an active and engaged user base.
So none of these spammy MFA ads.
Yeah, definitely not not an MFA site, and they've been getting a lot of bad press, and they bring a negative vibe to the open internet, and that's a big challenge that we have to overcome as an industry.
And is activation on the premium web kind of the biggest reason why retailers and brands would use a data clean room?
Yeah, so if you think about premium web, I mean that's the great user case, right? And that includes connected TV. And if you think about connected TV, it has a great reach, it has a great audience segment. So if you're an FMCG brand with no first-party data, imagine the possibilities that you can bring when you suddenly bring in purchase data from a retailer. You combine that with highly engaged and active audience segments in a CTV provider, and you can really power some fantastic results. And that's definitely the biggest user case that we're seeing in retail media today.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned was around flexibility. So how can retailers ensure that they're in a position to provide it, and what can the brands be doing to try and encourage it?
Yeah, of course. I think it comes back to the ultimate role of a clean room, right? It's that ability to allow collaboration in a really secure place. So from the retailer perspective, it's about being more dynamic, being able to present the valuable data to the brand, allow them to query it, allow them to gain different types of insights from it, with the peace of mind that that data isn't going anywhere. The brand can't see that data, and that's it's ultimately the role that a privacy-centric business like Decentriq plays. With privacy-enhancing technologies. We're in Europe for Europe, where GDPR compliance and privacy is taken really seriously. I think retailers can have that peace of mind that they can allow the data to be leveraged without the brand ever truly getting access to it, and that's a really powerful thing.
Well, it's an exciting space that you're in, Dan. I'm happy that you've made a great move and you're enjoying it.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. It is a lot more nerve-wracking on this side. I will say that. But thanks.
You know
for
what?
having
We're not
us.
finished yet though, because what's about to come.
Yeah.
So we are in Cannes.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up a timer.
Okay.
My challenge today for everybody has been to name as many songs in 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
With the word "can" in the title, starting now.
Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
That's the number one that most people
well, I've got a kid, so now it's just playing in my head. The Can, is that a song?
Maybe.
I'll give it.
It is now. Do that too.
Wow, this is much harder than I thought it would be. Wow.
2.
I think I'm out. Yeah, I've got 2. That was rubbish.
You're in second place, believe it or not, though.
I can believe it. I literally had a brain fart as soon as that happened.
Well, it's good to see you. I'm sure we'll have plenty more drinks throughout the day.
Thank you for having me, and great to be back.